In my last video, I explained how to solve for both average velocity and average acceleration. However, in order to solve most kinematics problems that you'll encounter, you'll need to memorize 4 more formulas. The 4 formulas that I'm about to mention can all be derived from these 2, so hopefully they can be understood rather than just memorized. The first formula that you'll need to know is final velocity equals initial velocity plus acceleration times time. If we rearrange this and solve for acceleration, we can get acceleration equals final velocity minus initial velocity over time. This shows that this is really just the average acceleration formula that we've already seen. The second formula that you'll need to know is the change in displacement equals the final velocity plus the initial velocity over 2 multiplied by time. If the acceleration can be assumed to be constant, this entire term represents the average velocity. We can therefore rewrite it as the change in displacement equals the average velocity times time. We can rearrange this to get the average velocity formula that says the average velocity is equal to the change in displacement over time. So we have proven that this second formula is really just the average velocity formula, while the one before this was really just the average acceleration formula. The third formula that you'll need to know is the change in displacement is equal to the initial velocity times time plus 1/2 of the acceleration times time squared. This formula is actually derived from the 2 new formulas that I just discussed. You can see that if we take the displacement formula and plug in the final velocity formula, we'll get this equation. So we have shown that this equation is actually derived from both the average velocity and average acceleration formulas. This is the last kinematics formula that you'll need to know. Final velocity squared equals the initial velocity squared plus 2 times the acceleration times the change in displacement. If we take the final velocity equation and square both sides, we'll be left with the following equation. If we pull 2 times the acceleration out of the parentheses, we'll see that we're left with final velocity squared equals the initial velocity squared plus 2 times the acceleration times the displacement formula. This right here is the previous formula that we just discussed. We can then rewrite it to get final velocity squared equals the initial velocity squared plus 2 times the acceleration times the change in displacement. So we can see that this last formula is also derived from the average velocity formula and the average acceleration formula. With these 4 formulas, you'll be able to solve any kinematics problem that you encounter. While over time you'll be able to easily remember these formulas, it's also important to understand them. Hopefully now you understand how to derive each of these formulas, which will also allow you to memorize them more easily. If anything is unclear, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.